Very good morning, students. For this lecturing video, I am going to teach you the laws of mechanics, which is nothing but the principles of mechanics. Laws are principles of mechanics. Totally, there are 9 laws. Let me just list it down one by one. First one is Newton's first law of motion. Newton's first law of motion. Second one, Newton's second law of motion. Second law of motion. Third one, Newton's third law of motion. Newton's third law of motion. Fourth one, principle of transmissibility. Principle of transmissibility. Fifth one, Lami's theorem. Sixth one, parallelogram law of forces. Parallelogram law of forces. Seventh one, triangle law of forces. Triangle laws of forces. Eighth one, polygon law of forces. Polygon law of forces. Last not but the least, which is Newton's law of gravitation. Newton's law of gravitation. So these are the 9 laws or principles of mechanics. Let me just explain one by one in a detailed manner. Right. Let me just start with the Newton's first law of motion. What it states? It states that every body continues in a state of rest or uniform motion unless it is compelled by that state changed by an external force. What does that mean? Let me just cite a couple of examples to you. Suppose you have I'm keeping a ball over a table. Okay. So a ball has been kept on the table. Without moving, it is simply resting. Right. Without any motion, it is resting on the table. So it's going to be rest always at any point of time. So it's going to be rest. Right. This is one example. What the first law says, every body continues in a state of rest or uniform motion in a straight line unless it is compelled by that state changed by an external force. So here it is going to be rest only. Suppose a ball which is rolling on a ground, it just keep on moving with a constant velocity. That is a uniform velocity. With a uniform velocity. Unless I stop or this ball is stopped, it keeps rolling on the ground. So this is another example. The third one, so when a bus is there which is about to start. So I'm just getting into the bus and all the seats are filled. So now no seat is left out for me to sit. So what I am doing, I am just going to stand and just holding the hanger and just holding the bar and simply standing. Right? The bus is at rest. I am also in the rest position in this position. The moment the bus gets started, that starts moving, so I just move backward due to the jerk. Just holding this bar and standing here, my foot is resting on the ground of the bus. The moment it gets started, I just move backward with a jerk. So that applies the first law of Newton's law, right? Newton's first law. Then let's see Newton's second law. What Newton's second law says? The rate of change of momentum. The rate of change of momentum of a body is proportional, directly proportional to the force which is acting on the body and takes place in the direction of the force. What do you mean by momentum, by the way? It's a product of mass and velocity. So let me just repeat the definition. The rate of change of momentum of a body is directly proportional to the force acting on a body and takes place in the direction of the force. For an example, a ball is which is just rolling on a football is which is rolling on the ground is some velocity. A boy comes and kicks that ball. What happens? It gets accelerated. That means the speed gets increased and it moves in the direction where the force has been applied. So this is an example. Got it? So let me just cite let me just move to the next one. What it says? Newton's third law of motion. Newton's third law. For every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. For every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. Let me just cite an example. Right. This is assume is a rocket. When it is fired, when the engine is fired, the thrust, it moves upwards. Where engine is fired, the force is here, the action is here, but the rocket moves upwards. So this is an example. Next, if a swimmer swimming in the river or in a pond, he tries to row in this manner. He tries to push backwards. This is action. Whereas the swimmer moves forward. That is a reaction. Right? This is an example. Got it? Right. Or in other words, simple way, take a ball and just throw it in the ground. It bounces back. So that is the reaction. Right? So this is a typical example for the Newton's third law, right? Newton's third law of motion. Let me just give the definition for principle of transmissibility. Principle of transmissibility says the point of application of a force can be moved anywhere along the line of action without changing the external reaction force on a rigid body. Let me just draw a diagram. Assume this is a body, it's a rigid body. A force is being applied here. Let us assume this is A with a magnitude of F. Look at here. This is a point B. Right, which is equal to this point A. This is point B, this F. So let me just repeat the definition again. The principle of transmissibility states that the point of application, this is the point of application of a force, this is a force, can be moved anywhere along the line of action. What is line of action? This is the line of action. This is the line of action. Can be moved anywhere along the line of action, right? Action of the force without changing the external reaction force on the body. Now, let me just cite an example for your better understanding. A bus is there. A bus is there, which is here, right? A person who just pushes with the magnitude of F. Right? Which is equivalent to a person who pulls the bus from the other side. Here this is pushing and here this is a pulling. Look at here, this line of action should be remain same. Line of action should be remain same. Assume this is A point and this is B point. This is A point and this is B point. So the point of application and the line of action is important. Clear? Right. Next law of mechanics is Lami's theorem. The Lami's theorem states that if three coplanar forces acting at a point be in equilibrium, then each force is proportional to the sine of angle between the other two forces. Let me just draw a sketch for your better understanding. So, by the way, what is the coplanar force? The force which acts in the same plane. Let me just draw three forces. It says three forces. If three forces are acting at a point be in equilibrium. Equilibrium means in the state of rest without moving or the uniform motion, right? Three forces. Let me just take this as P, this as Q and this as R. Then each force is directly that is proportional to the sine of angle between the other two forces. Take this as alpha and this angle as beta and this angle as gamma. So, let me just take P, which is proportional to the sine of angle between the other two forces. That means P is here, other two forces angle, that is sine alpha. Then when you take Q, this is a force, other two forces are here, the angle between here. So that means sine beta. Let me just take the force S, the angle between the two forces, that is PQ, that is gamma, that is sine gamma. So let me just repeat the definition once again. Lami's theorem states if three coplanar forces acting at a point be in equilibrium, then each force is proportional to the sine of angle between the other two forces. Got it? Right. So the next one is parallelogram law of forces. What parallelogram law states? Parallelogram law of force states that if two forces are acting at a point are represented in magnitude and direction by the two adjacent sides of the parallelogram, then the resultant force is represented in magnitude and direction by the diagonal of the parallelogram passing through that point. Let me just draw the sketch so that you will understand it. That means two forces acting at a point. Right? This is a point. Take this as P and this as Q. This is a parallelogram, right? So just draw it. Now let me just repeat the definition again. If two forces are acting at a point, PQ, are represented in magnitude and direction, right, by the two adjacent sides of the parallelogram, then their resultant force is represented in magnitude and direction by the diagonal of the parallelogram passing through the point. Which is the passing point? This is the diagonal, right? So this is R, right? The angle for or the inclination or direction for the resultant can be represented by alpha, right? And the angle between forces can be represented by theta. Got it? So the formula for the resultant or the magnitude of resultant simply mentioned as R is the root of P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos theta. PQ are the two forces, theta is the angle between the two forces, PQ. Got it? Next, alpha. Alpha is nothing but the direction of resultant or the inclination of the resultant, which can be represented tan inverse of Q sin theta by P plus Q cos theta. So R is nothing but the magnitude of resultant. The unit of resultant would be N, Newton or kilonewton. And the unit of alpha, that is the inclination or angle, which can be mentioned as degree, degree, D-E-G-R-E-E, degree. Got it? Now, I have explained the parallelogram law of forces, right? Next one is triangle law of forces. Triangle law of forces. What it says? The triangle law states if two forces are acting at a point or represented in magnitude and direction by the two sides of the triangle taken in order, then the resultant force is represented in magnitude and direction by the third side, that is the closing side of the triangle taken in opposite order. Right? Let me just draw a couple of drawings for your better understanding. What it says, two forces are acting at a point. So this is the point. Let me just take this as PQ. The angle between the forces is represented by theta. So what it says, if two forces are acting at a point are represented by these two sides of the triangle, and then their resultant force is represented by the third side or the closing side of the triangle taken in order, in the opposite order, right? Suppose by principle of transmittivity, what it says, pushing or pulling at the same point of application and the line of action is same, right? So I am just applying here now this point. This is P, right? Now this is Q. Now this is theta. Here I applied the principle of transmissibility. Have you noticed this? This is a point. Here it is pushing. Here it is pulling. Here I applied the principle of transmissibility. Right? So what it says, the closing side of the triangle is taken in opposite order. So this is the resultant, is the opposite order. Closing in the opposite order. The angle is alpha. What about this angle? If this is theta, this is 180 degree. Therefore, this could be 180 minus theta. This could be 180 minus theta. So the magnitude of resultant would be root of P square plus Q square minus 2PQ cos theta. Here it is the angle 180 minus theta. What is the formula for parallelogram law of force? P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos theta. Whereas when it comes to triangle law of forces, P square plus Q square minus 2PQ cos 180 degree minus theta. This is the law of the triangle law of forces. Right. By the way, I have been telling you the resultant. What is the word resultant? The definition of resultant. If a number of forces acting on a particle are replaced by a single force, which could produce the same effect as produced by the given forces, then this single force is called resultant. For an example, so one body or in a bus or whatever, right? Somebody is just pushing here. This is 10 Newton and the other one is putting some more effort, that is 12 Newton, and someone is putting and pulling this bus of 10 Newton. These are forces, right? Now let me just repeat the definition of resultant now. If a number of forces are acting on a particle, look at here, 3 forces are acting, are replaced by a single force which could produce the same effect as produced by the given forces, then that single force is called resultant. So R can be written as, if you take this as F1, this is F2 and this is F3, F1 plus F2 plus F3, which could be 10 plus 15 plus 10, which is equal to 35 Newton. So this can be represented in this manner, R equal to 35 Newton. So this is resultant. Got it? Right. Now let's move to the next law, which is Polygon law of forces. Polygon law of forces. What Polygon law states? It states that if a number of forces acting on a particle are represented in magnitude and direction by the sides of the polygon, then the resultant force is represented in magnitude and direction by the closing side of the polygon in opposite order. Let me just draw a diagram for your better understanding. So if a force is acting in this way, let us take this as F1. Another force is acting here, that is F2. One more force is acting here, which is F3. Another force is acting here, which is F4. Look at here, these forces are acting in the same direction, right? Now, the resultant should be act in the closing side of the polygon in opposite order. It should be opposite of it. Opposite order. This is resultant. The angle, this is alpha. Now let me just repeat the statement, that is the definition of Polygon law of forces. Now with this drawing I have just explained. If a number of forces are acting on a particle are represented in magnitude and direction of the sides of the polygon, then their resultant force is represented in magnitude and direction by the closing side of the polygon in opposite order. Got it? Right. Let's move to the next one, not but the least, Newton's law of gravitation. Newton's law of gravitation. The Newton law of gravitation says that force of attraction between two bodies is directly proportional to their masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Assume this is a mass m1 and the mass of m2, right? And this force is attracted between the two bodies. That means here also one force which attracts each other. This is the line of action. And this is the distance between these two bodies. That is, center of the distance between these two bodies is represented by R. Right. Let me just repeat the definition once again. The Newton's law of gravitation says that the force of attraction between two bodies is directly proportional to the mass, their masses m1, m2, and inversely proportional to the square of distance between them. So distance between two is r, therefore r square, which can be written as F is directly proportional to their masses m1, m2 divided by square of distance between them, that is r square. So this can be replaced with a constant, that is g into m1 into m2 by r square. So g is nothing but the constant of gravitation or the universal constant. G is nothing but the universal constant or constant of gravitation. So g is 66.73 into 10 power minus 12 meter cube per kg into second square. So this is the value of the constant of gravitation or universal constant. What is F? This is the force of attraction between two bodies. G is the universal constant. M1, M2. M1 is the mass of the first body. M2 is the mass of the second body. R is the distance between these two bodies. Let me just cite an example for law of gravitation. So assume a earth. Let me just wipe this off. This is earth. This is the orbit. This should be an ellipse, but somehow I just drawn here. This is the path of moon. This is earth. This is moon. Right? So the moon is rotating in the orbit. Right? It is moving the orbit. This is attracted to here and this is attracted to here. But it moves in the velocity and doesn't change in the path. So it moves in that. So this is the typical example for the law of gravitation. That is a Newton's law of gravitation. So hope you have all understood the definitions of all the laws of mechanics or the principle of mechanics. So with this, by keeping the laws, we would solve the problems. So probably I will just explain in detail in the upcoming videos. Thank you.